Hey there, all you fantastic people. I hope your day has been absolutely wonderful. We're back with another thrilling episode of What If Naruto Was the Reborn Ancients. Make sure to show some appreciation to the talented author behind this fanfiction. You'll find the link waiting for you down in the description. Kushina hides a secret from everyone, and then makes sure her son will not face the burden he is about to carry alone. When she's done, the world shall fear her son. If you're loving this mind-bending what if, don't hold back. Drop a comment and share your thoughts. And while you're at it, don't miss out on exploring the other captivating what ifs available on this channel. Alright, without further ado, let's kick off this video and dive into this exciting journey. 5 years later, Naruto had changed over the 5 years under his training from his mother. No longer was he a loudmouth idiot but a trained fighter. He was now 11 years old. His body was now toned with no baby fat on his body. He did not have bulky muscles though because his body was like a track runner. He stood now as 5 feet 6 inches and weighed around 115 pounds. His family land no longer had the house his parents built. He had taken it apart, and to be used inside of his temple. The temple truly had changed as well from a simple 3-story temple to one that had 6 towers connected to the underground chambers instead of the usual for a Jedi temple had, as well as an observation chamber above the main part of the temple in the middle, allowing his to overlook the entire village and for several miles. The stone that he had built it now had special white paint on them that would never fade away. It was just like the temple on Coruscant, except there were 6 towers that showed signs of his devotion not to the light side or the dark side of the Force but the Force itself. His whisker marks on his face were now finer and nearly non-existent as his hair was now longer and went to middle of his back. His cloths were now a black body armor similar to his mother's that he modified over it that stuck to his body like spandex. Over it he wore a black fishnet shirt with a pair of black pants and a white cloak over it. He opened his eyes and they were now a more violet color than they used to be, and he thought, "So today's the day we return, mother," Kushina said. "Yes, my son. Today is the day we put our plan into action," Naruto smiled and said. "Yes, mother, today is the day we begin our new empire. Today the people of this world meet their future master." As his eyes flashed red a moment before flashing gold, and then back to his violet color, Kushina smiled and thought, "Even I admit I feared he was going to the dark side for a while, but now I see that he's not light or dark but a gray master of both, just like his mother without losing himself like I did. Thank God we found out time moved slower in here so he could gain years of knowledge while he slept. His connection to the Force is as good as mine or better." Naruto stood up and walked out of his meditation room in the observation tower, and a stone slab slid down covering the door to the chamber as he began walking down a set of stairs. As he left the stairs another stone slab lifted, and as he walked out it slid back into place, and he smirked and thought, "My chamber of solace, no one will be able to attack me there or bother me." As he walked through the temple and toward the gate, and he waved his hand and the lock on the gate unlocked. Kurina Yuhi was walking beside the heiress to the Hyuga clan, Hinata Hyuga, who was on her way to the academy today, when she heard the gate lock click and the gate open, and her eyes went wide when a young teen stepped out of the gate, and she stood in front of Hinata and said, "Who are you?" The person looked at her and said, "Namikaze Naruto," as he turned and began walking down the path. Kurinai looked at him, and then looked at the gate and thought, "So he's the person who lives in the white sand. I had heard rumors someone lived there, and I saw that it changed from when I was younger, but I thought since nothing new has appeared in 2 years that he died." After Naruto was gone, Hinata asked, Kurinai, who was that?" In a stutter. Note, if Hinata is talking until I say otherwise it is a stutter. I want to repeat that over and over and she gives me a headache talking. Kurinai looked at Hinata and said, "I am not sure." "Why?" Hinata said. "Sorry, he looked almost my age," Kurinai said. "Well, come on, I don't want you to be late." As they both began to walk again. As Naruto was walking down the street he was getting strange looks from people and he ignored them and walked toward the Hokage tower. As he was walking someone landed near him and he saw it was Kakashi and said, "Hello Kakashi." "Been a while," Kakashi said. "Yes, it has, Naruto. About 4 months I believe." "How are you?" Naruto said. "Good. On my way to see the Hokage about joining the academy." Kakashi nods. "And I like the way you have changed your home, Naruto. It looks like a palace in a way. It even has a nickname as the White Sand because of the beach crest on your family estate." Naruto stopped and looked at Kakashi, who said, surprised, The Sandaime revealed your heritage. It caused a massive uproar in the village. It nearly caused a civil war in fact, Naruto asked. Why? I mean, what forced him to finally tell, and why did it almost go to war? Kakashi said. Well, it happened right after the Uchiha massacre. Itachi, the heir to the Uchiha clan, killed his entire clan except for his younger brother Sasuke. Konoha was in a state of depression and nobody knew what to think, so… Flashback. Inside the council chamber, a civilian said, "This is a disaster. With the Uchiha clan gone, Konoha has lost its sword. They have always been our attack clan and the Hyuga clan has always been our shield clan, providing protection for us. What are we to do?" Inoichi said. "This is bad. IWA might attack us if they find out, or Cloud. Both countries have not liked us in years and have been waiting for a chance to get even." The Sandaime Hokage sat in his chair in front of the council, and he was rubbing his temples and he heard everyone complaining, and a civilian said, "If only the Yellow Flash was still alive. He would make them fear us," the Sandaime mumbled. "Too bad his son not ready." Some cut her eyes at him as she heard this and said, "What do you mean his son, Hokage-sama?" The third looked up and looked at her and said, "What?" Some said, "You just said too bad his son not ready yet." "What do you mean his son?" Everyone was looking at the Sandaime thought. "Shit, I said that out loud." And Hiashi said, "So he was telling the truth then. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze is the son of Minato Namikaze." Several people's eyes got wide and a civilian said, "No, it can't be. The Yondaime would never sacrifice his own son to seal a demon," the Sandaime said. "That's exactly what he did. Why is it so hard to believe the Yondaime would sacrifice his own son then ask someone else to sacrifice their child? That everyone in this village has forced his son to live in complete solitude away from the village because of the abuse." Everyone was deep in thought and some said, "What did you mean when you said he wasn't ready, Hokage-sama? What kind of a difference would he make?" The Sandaime frowned and said, "Simple. When Naruto moved into his family home, he found the secret to both his father's jutsu, the Hiraishin and the Rasengan," Danzo said. "We must get him to give us those secrets. We could create an army of yellow flashes to stop our enemy," the Sandaime snorts and said. "He would kill anyone who even tried to get them," a civilian said. "Like he could," the Sandaime said. "He put 4 of my ANBU in the hospital in less than a second 3 years ago. He's only gotten stronger since, and that was only using his mother's style. She's been training him since he's 4. Everyone's eyes got wide and Hiashi said, "The Yondaime's wife is alive," the Sandaime nods and said. "Yes," Danzo said. "You lie. The doctor who delivered him said she would be dead within an hour after birth." The Sandaime glanced at Danzo and said, "True, Danzo, but neither the doctor or I knew that Kushina knew a kinjutsu that would save her life, but from what I can tell it put her in some kind of medical condition that prevented her from returning until Naruto was 4. Though how did you know, Danzo?" "Minato and I both ordered not only Naruto parentage secret to protect him, so how could you have known about her condition?" Danzo said. "I do my homework. There has only been one other Uzumaki in this village. A former ninja of Whirlpool Country until it was destroyed," Hiashi said. "Hokage-sama. What shall we do about the current problem though? I mean, true, the disturbing news about the Yondaime's son is a problem we should deal with, but as you said, he's not ready, so what are we to do now?" And flashback, Kakashi said. "After that, a lot of council member went to get drunk, and when people get drunk they talk, and by the next evening word of your parents finally made it around the whole village." Naruto nods and said, "So how have you been?" Kakashi said. "Alright. I stopped spending so much time in front of the memorial stone," Naruto asked. "Why?" Kakashi said. "I thought about what you said back when we first met. I went around the village in a henge of you on several occasions and I did not like what I saw. I then went to the memorial stone to think, and your words rang in my mind, and I decided Obito would not like me mourning him the way I did. I like the idea you have by becoming something for your parents. In fact, it should be happening right about now." Just then several explosions went off on top of the Hokage monument, and Naruto looked at the Hokage monument and blinked before bursting out laughing, and he held his side and said, "I can't believe you did that." Kakashi smiled and a scream of "Kakashi!" rang throughout the village, and Kakashi took off running, and Naruto looked one more time as the Yondaime face had been covered with female versions of each of the Hokages. Just then several ANBU appeared and began chasing Kakashi, and one in a bear mask said, "What happened to you, senpai? Why have you become a pranking master?" As he chased after them, Naruto smiled for several minutes and thought, "Okay, Mom, I think Kakashi might have seen the light." Kushina was sweat dropping as she looked at Minato and thought, "What the hell? He looks better as a woman than I do." Naruto continued on his way to the Hokage office, and when he got there he saw the same secretary, and he waved his hand, not even bothering with her, and she never looked up, and he walked to the door and opened it. When Naruto opened the door, Kakashi was there with 4 Anbu holding him in a straight jacket with poles holding the jacket, and he said, Did I come at a bad time?" The third, who was glaring at Kakashi, turned to Naruto, and his eyes went wide a moment, and said, No, come on in. Anbu, take Kakashi to Ibiki and tell him to hold him with no Ika paradise for 48 hours, Kakashi screamed. "No, my precious." As they all 5 left in a puff of smoke, once they were gone, Naruto sat down and the third said, "I see you look a lot like your father," Naruto said. "I heard you slipped to the council about my parentage." The third nodded and Naruto said, "So where does that put me exactly? I mean, besides basically stealing my family land, where am I at?" The third sighed and reached into his drawer and pulled out a folder and flipped through it until he found what he was looking for, and he said, "This is yours. I know I kept your money all the times you asked for it, but I used them to buy the items you requested." As he hands a sheet of paper to Naruto, Naruto read, "Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, son of Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze, born October 10th, XXXX, hair blonde, eyes blue, distinguishing characteristics, whiskers on each cheek, citizen ID number 521512151515151, property owned, lot number 6515645555, and all building and resources contained within the boundaries of land. Financial account number 54894959849546341854631. Naruto nodded and said, "I understand, and that is acceptable. I figured that out already, but I wish you would have told me before," the third said. "I wanted to make amends for the past, Naruto. I realized that you were right. I was making things worse for you. I guess the old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, is true. I knew if you were to get your money, then odds are I would never get a chance to talk to you." Naruto sighed and said, "The past is the past. I just want to complete my goals in life. In fact, that is why I am here today. I wish to enter the academy." The third frowned and said, "That's going to be hard. You're way too old to put in the beginning class, and I don't know if you're good enough to be in the graduating class, so that leaves you with 2 classes you could be in. One would be the class around your age, but the truth is it's mostly made of civilian students from civilian family or orphans from the Kyuubi attack. If you were put in that class, odds are nearly every student would either quit or would use every chance they could to get you kicked out," Naruto said. "And what about the other class?" the third said. "Well, the other class is those who are about a year younger than you. There are actually more students in this class than normal because after wars or intense battles, the number of pregnant women always increase." As he pulled out his pipe and started to prepare it before lighting it, Kushina said, "It's because of the rush. After surviving a hard battle, everyone always has a rush they want to burn off, and the only way to do so is usually getting into another hard battle which will get you killed or have sex. Lots and lots of sex, and it don't matter if you're male or female. Everyone gets them." In a dreamy voice, Naruto's sweat dropped, and the third took the pipe out of his mouth and said, "Now, as you can guess, most of the children from this bunch come from ninja family. Most of them the heirs of their respective clans, so the famed thing of being the Yandaime's son won't matter much to them since they will realize the pressure you're going to look at. I hate to say this, but after everyone found out about your parentage, everyone also learned of Kyuubi, so don't be surprised if people ask," Naruto said. "So is that the class you're wanting me to be in?" the third sighed and said. "How much of those books on the laws of Konoha did you get through Naruto?" Naruto said. "All of them." "Why?" the third said. "Shortly after your heritage was discovered, the clan started to come to me and ask if you were going to be granted clan rights," Naruto said. "Because of the fact anyone who becomes a Hokage has their family become a clan. I know that law because I actually wanted to use it later to fulfill my own goal," the third asked. "Which is?" Naruto said. "I want to form a clan devoted to the Uzumaki style of fighting. I do not want that knowledge to be lost, so I plan to have several children and train them in it. With clan rights, I get clan protection of my family secrets as well," the third said. "Well, that's good and bad. I don't know if you know this, but since the Uchiha clan was killed, the civilian has had control of the council. When Sasuke comes of age to take his seat back, it will fall into a tie. With your clan status, you would become the deciding vote. The clans realize this and want to get you on their good side. You must realize that everything you do from this point on can be used politically, Naruto thought. You don't know how easy you are making this, and said. I realize that and I will do what I feel is right, the third nodded and said. So which class do you want to be in? Naruto said. I will take the class with the heirs. At least I will be on even footing then, and thought. Yeah, right, the third said. Very well. Then let's go to the academy. As he got up and Naruto followed as the third placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder, and both disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Naruto saw what appeared to be a 3-story brick building that he could see from his tower, and he followed the third inside the building, and they made it to the third floor to room 301, and the third knocked on the door. A few moments later Naruto saw the door opened and a gray-haired Chunin opened the door, and Naruto saw his eyes narrow for a moment, and the third said, Ah, Mizuki, I have a new student for you, Mizuki said. Welcome, Hokage-sama. As he bowed and stepped aside, Naruto followed after the third walked into the room, and Naruto saw Mizuki stick his foot out to trip Naruto, and Naruto's eyes flashed gold a moment, and Mizuki suddenly felt his throat closing and he moved his foot, and after Naruto walked by, Mizuki suddenly fell to the floor gasping for breath, making everyone look at him. A man with a scar on his nose said, Are you alright, Mizuki? Mizuki said, gasping air. Yeah. I lost my breath a moment. As he slowly stood up and the third cleared his throat and said, Hello, Irika. I have a new student for your class. Allow me to introduce Naruto Namikaze. Everyone's eyes went wide a moment hearing the name, and a small eep was heard from the back of the class, and Naruto looked and thought, Hey, that's the girl from this morning. And Irika said, Excuse me, Hokage-sama, but why is he in this class? He's obviously older than the rest of the students. Naruto stepped forward and said, Because I asked to be. The third looked at Naruto and said, Well, I must be going. If you need anything, let me know, Naruto, Naruto said. Yeah, let's keep the same supply set up if you don't mind. It saves me a whole lot of trouble, the third said. Of course. I will be seeing you later, Naruto. Naruto nods and said, May the force be with you. As he began walking the stairs toward the top, as the third looked at him a moment before leaving in a swirl of leaves. Each of the students looked at him, and Irika said, Wait, why don't you introduce yourself to the class, Naruto? Naruto said. It's a waste of time, but fine. The name's Naruto. As he sat down in an empty seat, Irika said, And what else? What's your likes, dislikes, dreams? Naruto began speaking and everyone looked at him, and after he got done he said, Happy. Irika was confused and asked, What did you say? Naruto sighed and said, I just told you what my likes, dislike and dreams are, a girl with blonde hair said. But I couldn't understand you, Naruto said. That's because you were not supposed to. To answer your question, I like learning other languages that are not used around here. My mother knows several hundred languages and I know a little over 34 languages myself. That was Mando, the language of the Mandalorians, Irika asked. Who? Naruto said. Mandalorians. They were a warrior people who thrived on the thrill of battle. My mother fought against them and nearly exterminated all of their people in battle. Those who are left are scattered to the wind, mostly living as mercenaries now, Irika said. Well, can you tell us about you again in our language? Naruto said. Not today. We got time to learn about me. I think you might want to move though, Mizuki, or you're going to get hurt, Mizuki said. Huh. Just then a tile fell from the ceiling and hit him in the head, and he screamed in pain and held his hand, and a boy with a dog on his head said, How did you know that? In shock, Naruto said. I saw the tile move every time he hit the wall behind him as he tried to get comfortable leaning against the wall. I saw it was ready to fall when I said something, Irika said. Mizuki, why don't you go get checked out and we can begin class? Mizuki growled and got up holding his head and left. Naruto thought. Weak-minded fool, I can sense his anger toward me easily. As the first day of school continued for Naruto, it was over the history of the village, and Naruto got up and sat down in a lotus position and closed his eyes, and Irika saw this and said, What are you doing, Naruto? Naruto said. Meditation. I can multitask no problem, so go ahead with class. I just find sitting in class listening to the history of the village a little boring. I mean, it seems to me the class is designed to weaken us. I understand the reason for the boring stuff right now is not actually to teach us the history of the village, but to learn to stay alert no matter how bored we are, so in case we have to watch a client's house to sneak in and recover a document without being discovered, then we have to stay alert and detect patrols, guards, alarms, and other things that could screw up the mission. I just figured if we are going to be learning that right now, I might as well do something productive that won't interfere with class, like the boy next to the one eating chips right now. If everyone notices, he looks to be asleep, but his breathing never changed once while we were here. He's awake and listening, but he's also doing other stuff like I planned to. Said boy raised his head and raised an eyebrow and said, observant. Name's Shikamaru, you play shogi, Naruto said. Yeah, you play Daijuric, Shikamaru said. Huh. Naruto reached into his pocket and pulled out a scroll and bit his thumb before whipping it on a seal, and out popped a white and black circle table, and it activated and several holographic monsters appeared. Shikamaru asked. What is it? Naruto said. Daijuric, similar to chess and shogi, but uses creatures' attack strength and power instead of direction it can move. Shikamaru eyed the board several seconds and Irika said, Stop right now, both of you. I am not going to let you play games in class, Shikamaru said. Roof, lunch. Naruto nods and Naruto sealed the game, and both boys closed their eyes at the same time, one to meditate, the other to sleep. Irika said, Wake up and get back in your seat, Naruto. Naruto opened his eyes and said, You say something. Just then Kakashi bust through the window, still in his straight jacket, and he said, You never catch me alive. As he ran for the door, 3 teams of women, all in A and B uniforms without their mask on, came through the busted window, and Naruto's sweat dropped, and one with purple hair said, Where did that bastard go? I want to see his face. Each of them looked around the class, and Irika said, He left out the door. The women took off after him, and after they were gone, Naruto said, You can come out now, Kakashi. Just then the flagpole in the corner of the room went up in smoke, and he said, Damn Ibiki, why did he have to let Anko punish me? Naruto got up and walked over to Kakashi and said, Damn, chakra restraining. I guess henge is all you can do, huh? Kakashi nods and Naruto said, I will get you out of them, Kakashi asked. How? Only the person who put it on can take it off, Naruto said. Stand still. And before he had a chance to say anything, a snap hiss sound was heard and a red blur was seen moving around from Naruto to Kakashi, and then the noise was gone as well as the blur, and the straight jacket fell to the floor. Everyone was shocked, and Kakashi asked, What was that? Naruto said. What was what? Kakashi said. That red blur, Naruto said. Oh, that. As he held up his hand, and it was covered in red chakra, and he said, Chakra strings made from this. As the chakra faded, Kakashi frowned and said, You shouldn't be using that, Naruto, Naruto said. It's no different than that, Kakashi. As Naruto hit the hiatus over Kakashi and continued, It's a tool I don't want, but I learned to use to save my comrades. Kakashi sighed and said, I guess you're right, but be careful, Naruto said. I only use it for healing and minor things like what I just did, since it's dangerous to everyone but me. Now you're ruining my class day, and Irika here is trying to figure out if he should hate me or not because of what I just did, and yes, that was Kyuubi chakra I used. Looking at the other students who were looking at him shocked, Kakashi then tensed as he felt a kunai at his throat, and Anko appeared behind him and said, Now Kakashi-kun, why don't you show me your blood? As she went to cut his cheek and moved to lick it when he was covered in smoke, and when the smoke cleared, Irika was there with the cut, and Anko was licking his blood. Kakashi pulled out his book and looked up and said, You say something, Anko. As he left with a leaf shushin, Anko growled and took off after him, and Irika was shocked, and Naruto said, And just think, those people are the ones protecting this village and most likely be our teachers. Kami, help us. As he walked back to his seat and sat down beside it again to meditate. The rest of the day went off without a hitch, except Irika was jumping at every noise, and Shikamaru and Naruto had a match of shogi, and then Naruto promised to bring the instruction to Daijuric. Naruto sighed as he made his way home and thought, Interesting day. Caused chaos, brought order by showing my brains, met some interesting people, and saw my first project. I say that this will be a great beginning. It has been nearly a month since Naruto started the academy. In that time, Naruto had become friends with Shikamaru, Choji, and Kiba. Today was Saturday, and Sasuke Uchiha was in his backyard practicing throwing shurikens when a voice said, You lack hatred and power. Getting his attention, he turned and saw a cloaked figure standing there with yellow eyes and a mask on that hid his face, and Sasuke asked, Who are you and? He was cut off as the person held up his hand and lightning flew at him, hitting him and making him scream in pain. The person stopped and said, "Silence, boy. My name is Darth Rasen. I am here to give you power. Power to destroy your brother. Power beyond your belief. I am your master, and you will call me as such from now on." Sasuke was still feeling the pain and he said, "Never. I will never call you master." Through the pain, lightning hit him again and Rasen said, "You just have to ask and I shall stop." Several moments later, Sasuke said in a pained voice, "Stop, please stop." Rasen asked, "Stop what?" As he continued to hit Sasuke with lightning, Sasuke said, "Please stop, master." Rasen said, Good, Sasuke. You will make a great apprentice. You are now mine." Sasuke stood up slowly and then went to throw some shurikens at Rasen, who held his hand up, and Sasuke began to choke as his neck was squeezed, and Rasen said, "Foolish boy. I am more powerful than you can ever imagine. You will do as I say and how I say do it. In return I shall give you power to avenge your clan. Do you understand?" Sasuke said in gasped breath. "Yes, master." He fell to the floor gasping for breath, and Revan said, "Good, Sasuke, good. Now here. This is a gift." As he stabbed something in Sasuke's arm, Sasuke felt better in second and asked, "What was that, master?" As he looked at Rasen, Rasen said, "A small drug that will make your muscles stronger faster, as well as something to make you feel better. Now this is for you." As he held out a small cube, Sasuke took it and asked, "What is this?" Rasen said, "It's a device that will allow me to talk to you and tell you what I want without coming to see you. You will carry it with you at all times and show it to no one. I will appear on it and tell you my bidding. You will do as I say or I will kill you. You will tell no one about me or about ever meeting me. I can end your life on a whim and I know everything. I know how strong your brother is. I know where your brother is and I know how to make you stronger than your brother, but you will follow my orders without questions. Now are you ready to begin your training?" Sasuke said. "Yes, my master," Rasen said. "Good, here is a scroll with a training schedule on it you will follow daily. Do not sleep at night until it is done. When you are ready I shall deliver your brother to you to be killed. Until then prepare my apprentice. I have only 2 orders for you now. I know of your new student in U class, Namikaze. He is a Jedi. His skills are from a weaker branch of my order. I will teach you to destroy him, but you are not to fight him or challenge him until then. At your current level he will kill you, but soon you will be stronger than him. If you disobey my orders I will kill you. My second order is I wish for you to humiliate the Hyuga heiress, Hinata Hyuga. When you have a chance to fight her I want you to hurt her, punish her, destroy her confidence. Every chance you get you are to publicly humiliate her. Use your hatred toward your brother as a fuel to do so, but do not kill her. You will not sexually hurt her either. That will get you killed by the Hyuga clan. I plan for you to show everyone how weak the Hyuga are and the strength of the Uchiha clan. Do you accept my orders?" Sasuke said. "Yes, my master." With a smile on his face, Rasen said, "Good. Now sleep." As he placed his hand on Sasuke's head, making Sasuke pass out before leaving, when Sasuke woke up he thought, "Was that a dream?" As he saw the scroll in his hand, he opened it and went wide-eyed and thought, "This will make me stronger." As he read, 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 punches with each fist, 100 kicks with each leg, 10 laps around the Uchiha district, 50 bullseyes with both kunais and shurikens, swim 5 laps across the pond in the Uchiha district. The cube he received came to life and Sasuke saw the figure of Rasen standing there about 6 inches tall, and he said, "What do you want?" Sasuke suddenly felt his throat being crushed. Aegean and Rasen said, "Do not speak to me as an equal or with contempt again, boy. You are now mine. Learn your place. I see you have read your scroll, but it's already 3 hours after sunrise. You should have already been training. Failure is not an option. Weakness will not be tolerated. Use your hatred to keep you going. Each time you feel yourself tiring, remember the blood of your family. Now get started before you try my patience." As Sasuke could finally breathe, Sasuke said in gasped breath, "Yes, master." As he got to work training, Rasen's image faded from the cube and Rasen thought, "Yes, Sasuke, you are now mine." When Monday came around, Naruto was walking toward the academy when he heard the shouts of kids screaming, "Fight, fight, fight." He walked toward where the circle was and Naruto saw Sasuke being held back by Iruka and Hinata on the ground holding her face crying. He ran over to her and said, "Hinata, are you alright?" As he pulled her into an embrace. Hinata was crying and Naruto saw everyone looking and he said, "Get out of here. Can you see she's hurt?" As he locked his eyes on Sasuke and said, "What did you do to her?" Sasuke stopped trying to get free of Iruka and said, "That weakling should learn her place not to try to talk to her betters." As Iruka let go of him, Naruto said, "What the hell are you talking about? You weaker than her." Sasuke humphed and began to walk away when Iruka started to move toward Hinata and Naruto said, "Go take care of him. I will help her." As he picked her up bridal style and began carrying her away while she still held her face crying. When they were away, Naruto stopped and sat her against a tree and said in a kind voice, "Sure Hinata, it's okay. Let me see your face so I can help you." Hinata did not move her hand and Naruto reached up and pulled her hands away and winced and said, "It's okay. I can help." Hinata was scared and Naruto placed his hand over the bruise on her right cheek and started to heal it with a minor healing jutsu he learned from his father's library. Hinata felt the healing jutsu working and then Naruto went to her other cheek and then her nose and she softly whispered, "Thank you." After it was done, Naruto said, "No problem. Are you okay now?" As he pulled out a canteen of water and pulled a handkerchief and poured water on it and began washing the blood from her face. Hinata nods and Naruto stood up and held out his hand and said, "Come on. Let's get to class. Hopefully they kick Sasuke out of school." Sasuke, after getting yelled at from Iruka, went to the bathroom to wash Hinata blood from her nose off his hands and he heard, "Good, my apprentice, good." As he looked in his weapons pouch and pulled out the cube, Sasuke said, "Thank you, my master," Rasen said. "Continue with my other orders, but now I have another mission for you. Comrades and friendship are weaknesses, especially your fangirls. You are to point out each of their flaws every time they bother you. Now go. Compassion is for the weak. Use your anger, my apprentice, and become powerful," Sasuke said. "Yes, master." As he shut off the water and left. When Sasuke got back to class, Naruto, who was sitting by Hinata who was looking down, got up and walked up to Sasuke and grabbed him by his arms and slammed him into the wall and said, "Don't you ever do that again, asshole." Iruka, who walked and said, "Naruto, release him." Naruto looked at Iruka and then at Sasuke and slammed Sasuke into the wall again before he let go and walked back up to Hinata. Hinata said quietly, "You didn't have to do that," Naruto said. "I can't stand to see people be hurt like that." Hinata looked away with a small smile on her face as class began. As the day went by, everyone kept glancing at Sasuke, Naruto, and Hinata. When lunch came around, Naruto looked at Hinata and said, "Come on, Hinata, come have lunch with me and my friends." Hinata pushed her fingers together and said, "I don't want to intrude," Naruto said. "Nonsense, come on," as he led her to the roof. When they got there, Naruto saw his three friends and said, "Hey guys, I brought someone to join us. I hope you don't mind." Motioning toward Hinata, Kiba said, "No man, it's cool," Shikamaru said. "Game now?" As he had a Bijeric board set up, Naruto said. "Still mad I beat you at both games." Shikamaru said nothing and they began their game and ate, while Hinata sat quietly watching. The rest of the day was uneventful except every time one of Sasuke fangirls tried to talk to him, he insulted them. After school, Naruto left to head home and Hinata waited until someone came to pick her up. Sasuke saw her and saw there was no one around, so he walked over and said, "You weak little Hyuga. You can't even protect yourself," as he kicked her in the stomach as she was turning around. This was the scene Hira Hyuga, a branch member, walked up to, and when he got closer, Sasuke stopped and said, "Pathetic Hyuga, you are weak." Hinata was coughing up blood from the kick as Sasuke walked away and Hira asked, "Are you okay, Hinata-sama?" Hinata nods as she slowly gets helped up. Time skip 1 month later. Iruka sighed as he walked into the Hokage office, and the third looked up from his paperwork and said, Iruka, what can I do for you today?" Iruka said. "Sir, I am having trouble with a student and I don't know what to do," the third said. "What is the problem, Iruka, and who is the student?" Iruka said. "It's Sasuke Uchiha, sir. Over the last month he's changed, sir. I mean, he has started fighting Hinata Hyuga every chance he can. It's like he has a feud with her, and she keeps going further and further into her shell because of it, sir. I mean, it's gotten to the point every time he even glances at her she flinches." The third sighed and said, "The Uchiha clan has always had a thing against the Hyuga clan. Apparently Sasuke must be trying to lash out against his clan's rival. As he lit his pipe, Irika said, "It's not just that, sir. Sasuke's attitude toward the entire class has changed. I mean, he has quit ignoring his fangirls and has actually started to criticize them, and I mean harshly about every fault they have. The girls, even after they get told off like they are, think it's because he's afraid to get close to someone, so they think it's an emotional defense. He's also started back-talking all the teachers in the academy, telling us how weak we are and also telling the other male students as well. I am afraid if something isn't done soon, then someone is going to get hurt or killed, sir," the third sighed and said. "It's even worse than that, Irika. Look at these." As he pulled out a folder and handed it to Irika, Irika began reading and went wide-eyed and said, "What is that boy thinking? I mean, no one has ever dared to go into a restaurant to eat and then tell them when they gave him the bill he was an Uchiha and does not have to pay. It's not just food. There's also cloths, weapons, bookstore. What is he thinking?" the third sighed and said. "I don't know. The council decided to have the owners just send the bills to the council and they would pay for it out of his clan savings plus 10 tip, and everyone seems happy by this, but because the civilians that agreed to it overvoted the clans who said he should be punished because they would never do that. It's all giving me a headache," Irika asked. "What should we do?" the third said. "There's nothing we really could do right now. I mean, you can get onto him in class and try to keep him away from Hinata, but until he becomes a ninja I can't punish him, since even academy students are considered civilians until they graduate. I can dictate who get in and what is taught, but I can't kick him out because it would cause trouble for the entire village. I wish I could help," Irika sighed and said. "Thank you, sir. I am sorry to bother you," the third said. "Nonsense, Irika. I appreciate you telling me of this. If it gets worse, inform me and I will see what I can do." Irika sighs and nods before leaving. The third looked out the window and sighed. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.